100 for 100. This is the movie podcast where I listed out 100 films I think everybody new to watching movies to check out at least once. Put it in your repertoire, as it were. Check them out at least once, man. I took those 100 films and then I ranked them 100 to 1 because it seemed like a good idea at the time. And then each one of these has a 100-word review attached to them. Hence, this show being called what it is called. It's me, your boy C, the host of this bit of business that we call 100 for 100, also the creator of the podcast network that this show is hosted on, Paprika. Listen to the other shows on the Paprika podcast network, by the way. They're all good shows out there. If you remember yesterday, we talked about our number 87 spot, Dr. Strangelove, directed by Stanley Kubrick over there. It's a great movie. If you have not watched it, I suggest you do so. That's a put your phone away movie, all right? You got to be dialed in to make sure you catch all the good stuff that's happening in that movie. But we already talked about that. We're here today to talk about our number 86 film. We got to go back to the 50s for this movie, specifically the year 1956, directed by Don Siegel, a little joint called Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This is a great movie. This is actually for free on YouTube right now. You can just type this into YouTube, sit down and watch the entire damn movie with a couple of commercials in there. I've done it before. It's a good thing to do. Let's get to this 100-word review of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, shall we? Released in the late 1950s, director Don Siegel takes full advantage of the Red Scare that gripped the nation to tell the story of a race of beings slowly taking control of the country by inhabiting the bodies of the town's residents. Strong themes of paranoia and McCarthyist anti-communism are thinly veiled as Miles Bennell attempts to subvert the invasion by simply being himself. This and its 1978 remake starring Donald Sutherland remains cemented as classic science fiction story that does what sci-fi does best: grapple with the nature of humanity and what it means to be an individual. It's not a bad review if I say so myself. Invasion of the Body Snatchers is the dopeness, man. The dopeness. We had to do it for Refried Scenes over there on our Patreon, the Behind the Wall podcast, patreon.com/Paprika podcast. If you're interested in checking out Refried Scenes, me and host Carol Coles, the best podcaster in Charlotte, that's what we do that, man. We did Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and boy, was it good to sit down and rewatch this film, man. Who the fuck is trustworthy? That's what I want to know about this show. This movie starts out nutty as shit with our main character just running in there, just sweaty, wild-eyed, look like he hasn't slept in days, trying to tell them that the pod people are coming. The motherfucking pod people are coming, people. And of course, nobody believes him because it doesn't make any damn sense. If somebody right in here right now to the podcast studio and told me that the pod people were coming to get me and that I couldn't go to sleep, I'd kick them the F out because I'm paying for this studio time. I love the shit out of this movie. All right, the remake is good, but the original is some wild business. All right, I'm a fan of films where there's a small handful of people, in this case 2 people, up against everybody else. And because it's 2 people against an entire town, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I mean, it's only 2 people. Those are some pretty insurmountable odds, especially when the entire town is coming after these 2 people. I have no idea why director Sam Peckinpah makes an appearance in this movie as a meter reader. Who invited that guy? It doesn't matter because this is a great film. When I say that this is a sci-fi classic, I mean it. All right, I put this movie up against films out today, and I think it still holds its weight. So don't let that black and white scare you, kids, all right? Just because something is in black and white does not make it whack. Look at the first beginning of Wizard of Oz is black and white. That's a wonderful movie. We already talked about it on this joint. Like I said, it's free on YouTube, man. Type it in. Pull it up on your smart TV if you got one. Just sit back and enjoy it. It's a fairly quick watch, if I remember correctly. Do yourself a favor and check out what is number 86 on our list, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.